In this video, we will provide a comprehensive summary of the chapters and orders in the Code of Criminal Procedure, (crpc), of India, enacted in 1973. The Code of Criminal Procedure is a crucial legal document that governs the procedure for the investigation and trial of criminal cases in the country. Let's delve into the key aspects of each chapter and order. Here in this video, we'll summarize Chapter 21 to 37. From Chapter 1 to 20 already summarized in the previous video. Please don't forget to watch the previous video given in the below link description for the summary of Chapter 1 to 20 of CRPC. Chapter 21, Summary Trials. Chapter 21 focuses on the concept of summary trials. These are accelerated trials conducted for offenses that are relatively minor. The procedures in summary trials are simpler and more time-efficient compared to regular trials. The chapter highlights the importance of dispensing justice swiftly in certain cases to reduce the burden on the judiciary. Chapter 21A, Plea Bargaining. Chapter 21A introduces the concept of plea bargaining, which allows an accused to plead guilty to a lesser offense in exchange for a reduced sentence. This chapter outlines the process and conditions for plea bargaining, promoting speedy resolution of cases and reducing the burden on the courts. It emphasizes the need for the consent of the victim, the prosecution, and the court for plea bargaining to take place. Chapter 22, Attendance of Persons Confined or Detained in Prisons. Chapter 22 addresses the procedures for ensuring the attendance of individuals who are confined or detained in prisons as witnesses in criminal proceedings. The court can issue a warrant for the production of such prisoners, and the expenses for their attendance are borne by the requesting party. The prisoners are examined in the same manner as other witnesses during the trial. Chapter 23, Evidence and Inquiries and Trials. This chapter discusses the rules and procedures related to the admission and evaluation of evidence during inquiries and trials. It outlines the manner in which witnesses are examined and cross-examined and highlights the importance of admissible evidence. Chapter 24, General Provisions as to Inquiries and Trials. Chapter 24 provides general guidelines and provisions applicable to both inquiries and trials in criminal cases. It covers various aspects, including the procedure to be followed in the trial of a person already convicted by another court, joint trials, and the effect of errors or irregularities on the trial's validity. Chapter 25, Provisions as to accused persons of unsound mind. Chapter 25 addresses the procedures and safeguards when an accused person is of unsound mind and deemed incapable of understanding the trial proceedings. The court conducts an inquiry into the accused's mental condition and may postpone the trial for medical examination and treatment. If the accused cannot recover from their unsound mind permanently, the court decides the appropriate course of action, considering the provisions of the law concerning mentally ill persons. Chapter 26, Provisions as to Summary Trials. Chapter 26 of the CRPC deals with summary trials. These are special and expedited trials conducted for offenses that are relatively minor in nature. The procedures in summary trials are simpler and more time-efficient compared to regular trials. The chapter emphasizes the importance of dispensing justice swiftly in certain cases to reduce the burden on the judiciary. Chapter 27, The Judgment. Chapter 27 focuses on the formulation and pronouncement of judgments by the courts after the completion of the trial. It outlines the requirements and contents of judgments, including the recording of reasons for the decision. The chapter emphasizes the importance of delivering clear, concise, and reasoned judgments to ensure transparency and accountability in the judicial process. Chapter 28, Submission of Death Sentences for Confirmation. This chapter addresses the procedure for submitting death sentences passed by the courts for confirmation to the High Court or Supreme Court. It ensures a careful review of death sentences by higher courts before execution. The chapter aims to prevent miscarriage of justice and safeguard the rights of the accused. Chapter 29, Appeals. Chapter 29 deals with the right of appeal available to aggrieved parties against convictions, acquittals, or sentences by lower courts. The chapter outlines the process and conditions for filing appeals in higher courts, depending on the nature of the case and the court from which the appeal is made. It ensures that parties have the opportunity to seek redressal against erroneous or unjust judgments. Chapter 30, Reference and Revision. This chapter covers the provisions for making references to the High Court or Sessions Judge for their opinion on a point of law. It also discusses the revisional powers of the High Court to examine the correctness, legality, or propriety of any order passed by lower courts. The chapter provides a mechanism for the High Court to ensure that subordinate courts are following the law correctly and that justice is administered appropriately. Chapter 31, Transfer of Criminal Cases. Chapter 31 deals with the transfer of criminal cases from one court to another to ensure fair and impartial trial proceedings. The court may transfer cases for reasons such as the convenience of witnesses, the interests of justice, or to avoid any likelihood of prejudice or bias. The chapter emphasizes the importance of ensuring a free and fair trial for the accused and the victim. Chapter 32, Execution, Suspension, Remission, and Commutation of Sentences. This chapter addresses the implementation of sentences, including punishments such as death, imprisonment, and fines. It also covers the suspension, remission, and commutation of sentences by competent authorities in specific situations. The chapter ensures that sentences are executed appropriately and in accordance with the law. Chapter 33, Provisions as to Bail and Bonds. Chapter 33 of the CRPC deals with provisions related to bail and bonds in criminal cases. Bail is a legal mechanism that allows an accused person to be released from custody while the trial is ongoing, with a promise to appear in court when required. The chapter outlines the conditions and procedures for granting bail, including the factors that courts consider while deciding whether to grant bail or not. It also provides provisions for the forfeiture of bail bonds if the accused fails to comply with the conditions of bail. Chapter 34, Disposal of Property. Chapter 34 outlines the procedures for the disposal of property seized in connection with criminal cases. The court may order the property's sale or disposal to prevent its deterioration or loss during the trial. The chapter ensures that the property is dealt with appropriately and in accordance with the law. Chapter 35 – Irregular Proceedings. Chapter 35 addresses the procedures for dealing with irregularities and errors in trial proceedings that do not affect the case's merits or justice. It provides guidelines for the rectification of such irregularities to ensure the fairness of the trial. The chapter allows for corrective actions while preserving the validity of the overall proceedings. This chapter specifies the time limits within which courts can take cognizance of certain offenses. It prevents the prosecution of offenses after a specified period to ensure that justice is pursued in a timely manner. The chapter ensures that cases are brought to the court's attention within a reasonable time frame. 1. Chapter 37 – Miscellaneous. This chapter includes Section 474 to 484 of CRPC. Chapter 37 – Miscellaneous covers various important provisions that ensure the proper administration of justice, protect the interests of military personnel, maintain the integrity of the judicial system, and empower the High Court to exercise its superintendence and inherent powers effectively. You will learn about all chapters of the Code of Criminal Procedure, 1973, India, CRPC with section detail in upcoming videos. Comment below for suggestions or any other related videos you would like to watch. Please like and subscribe if you want an update on complete chapter in detail with the sections.